Hello and welcome to another Kit Plus TV show. We don't need to say it again, but our lives have changed somewhat recently and we can't really be sure that they'll ever get back to the way they were. With that in mind, a lot of enterprise businesses are looking to new ways of communicating. Is mass Zoom calls really the image you want to portray?
Indeed, and Newtek have been at the forefront of streaming production and technology for a long time now. And who else to tell us about the solutions on offer than one of Newtek's longest serving elite partners?
With that in mind, we'd like to welcome into the show Marc Risby from Boxer. Hi Marc, hope you are well.
Hi, thanks for having us.
People engage with live content. You know, that's just the way it is. So how are you and or Newtek proposing enterprise level organizations recreate that in the online world?
Well, using a lot of the techniques we already have. I think, if you'd asked who my customers were in the past, it would have been typically, broadcasters, high, mid-range and post-production companies. And that's the market we've been in for a long time, or 30 years now. But right now, in the last couple of years, we've seen a transition to more and more enterprise companies wanting to get into video because it's an effective method of communication. But the last 6 months has changed everything. As you said in your introduction, I think, what we're finding now is people have got to find completely new ways of communicating. It doesn't matter whether it's your staff or your customers. The idea of having a massive trade show or perhaps a sales conference with 1,000 people sitting in a room learning about your new stuff, I don't think that's going to happen for a while. How do we engage people? How do we get people on the end of a computer or a tablet or a phone actually, looking at the content and taking it in? And that's what we do in television. That's what we've done for years in television. So it's a mixture of helping people, realize that they need to bring in, the kind of production values that TV has, rethink where you spend your money, train your talent. It's not just about sitting in front of an iPad camera or a laptop camera and expecting to look good. There are lots of basics you can do all the way up to the really advanced things. So, we're helping people understand that, a good camera with a decent bit of glass can make a massive difference. I'm broadcasting at home using a small PTZ camera. Just by moving away from the camera in your laptop can make a huge difference. A few lights, a decent microphone, they're the kind of things that you can do immediately for very little cost. But when you want to go further than that, how do you recreate the kind of events that you were doing, in person, and how do you make them better? So we're looking at using production techniques from the traditional TV world and letting people try, new things. We want to be able to engage people in the same way they're engaged with live television, and live works very well. It's still the most watched thing. After sport, your big event programs, your Britain's Got Talent, your X Factor have huge audiences because people want to be part of something live. So we're looking at how people can recreate their town hall meetings in that way to keep the buzz going, stop people going off to do their washing or go out in the garden when they should be sitting down. We want them to engage, and compelling content, it has to be the way forward. And that then means that you need, interesting ways of actually making those shows technically. Newtek have got some great solutions. They can be full on, large scale technical solutions, or they can be simplified. We're driving some shows now for some of our corporate customers using nothing but a touch panel, a few, individual buttons on a custom panel to drive their show their way, calling up macros, calling up multiple cameras, bringing in video content. We can do all of these things, with a little bit of clever setup and just creating something that looks massively different from just a grid or a Zoom window.
Yeah, and I guess for those solutions, Marc, the scalability and also the security of it is also key as well for them.
Absolutely. One of the things that we've seen is people move to video conferencing software because it's cheap, it's easy, and it's quick to deploy, but it doesn't give you normally the quality or the control that you want. So we've been looking at using solutions like with our partner Vimeo and their Vimeo Enterprise platform, which enables you to do live or video on demand across a massive audience, keeping your quality up, but doing it securely in a way that's it's your content, so it's not going to be got by anybody who don't deserve it. And that way we're able to sort of deploy these large systems that can go globally, and maintain the uptime, maintain the quality, and preserve your brand, if you like. It's very important that your big company, is not run off of a free Zoom account. That doesn't work. We're also using some of these systems to help bring content in from different places. So some of these video conferencing systems are very good for pulling in people who are remote. If I want to get my CEO in from, their holiday home, I can use Zoom to bring them in. And with the Newtek tools, with Live Call Connect, for example, we can make that person appear as a source and then be brought into the production, very much like you're doing here. With virtual sets, and other tools, we can really combine all these different sources and these different ways of working to make an end product that looks compelling.
Yeah. So you mentioned engagement a number of times. I think it's a key word because these large organisations have a very diverse workforce, and of course we've all got distractions at home. Just how do you get the message across to the customers and staff of what you're doing?
Well, I think you have to take it seriously. I think a lot of companies want to use their people to talk. And if you're going to do that, get them some media training. I think there's some really simple things that help people engage. We've all sat through very boring video conferences before where people aren't looking they're distracted. They're not looking at the camera. They're not lit. Their microphone, well, they sound tinny. You can hear the radio. You can hear their notifications coming in every time they get an email. None of that works if you want to engage people. If you don't look like you're engaged, then the people watching your program won't. So there's that. We're also helping people do things like turn conference rooms into studios. Using technologies like NDI from Newtek, we're able to make very flexible workspaces that one day can be a conference suite, the next day can be a virtual set. And that way we can, again, bring in some of television's sort of traditional looks and feels and quality values into a corporate environment.
Yeah, so I mean, really summing up, what you're saying is that broadcast quality, broadcast level of production for enterprise companies.
That's
where you're going. Yeah,
that's exactly where we're going. But the price point now means there's no barrier. A few years ago to do this, it just wouldn't have been easy.
Absolutely.
Now, tools like Newtek's have just brought that price point right down. The quality's up there, the feature set's up there, and what you can achieve, is really incredible.
So
I think I'm right in saying that Teams and Skype and now Teams are both supporting NDI. Is that right?
Yeah, when Skype turned NDI on, it added 1.5 billion users overnight. So Teams now supports it, as does Avid, Adobe. You can put it in VLC player. There are just so many things that support NDI natively. It's really grown and grown, and it just works. It's a really simple way of getting into a great ecosystem.
So, Mark, NDI is obviously a format devised, invented, if you like, by Newtek. What, from a product side, what have they got in that area?
Well, I mean, obviously NDI is fundamental to everything they do. But right now they've just launched the Tricaster Elite under the banner Better Than Broadcast. And it really is sort of a product of the time. I mean, it includes, the ability to do all of the broadcast, formats and cameras and, and everything we've been doing in the past. But it also recognizes things like Skype, things like Zoom, sources. You can even use your mobile phone as a source, running an NDI program. So it's something that a few years ago we'd have only used in the broadcast world, but now it's an amazing way of pulling together all these different streams and creating a compelling program, as we're talking about. So we're looking at education and enterprise being major places to use this. We know now that we've got to be able to, basically let people come in using the platforms that they're comfortable with. So maybe we'll have a lecturer or a CEO, perhaps, or product manager coming in on Zoom because that's what they like. We might mix that with a Teams call from somewhere else. And the Tricaster makes an excellent way of centralizing this, keeping the quality up there and outputting it, to services like Vimeo, providing the streaming, encoding and compression all in the one box. So, right now, it's a product that's very much of its time.
Yeah, we spoke to Liam Hayter from Newtek about the Elite actually a couple of months ago. So we'll put a link on screen now so people can see the full interview with that. So Mark, just finally, just before we let you go, we don't want to catch you out, but tell us something about you that we and maybe even your colleagues at Boxer don't yet know about you.
Well, I guess I've been a Boxer 26 years now, so there's not a whole load that my colleagues don't know about me. Something. I was once a world record holder for dancing. I was in the world's longest conga. There we go. It's there's I don't think I've ever shared that with anybody, if that's what you mean.
Lovely.
Yeah, I think that's one of our better ones so far. Look, brilliant. Thanks for watching today, and thanks to Mark from Boxer for coming on the show. To see all our video interviews and kit reviews, then head over to kitplus.tv, which is brought to you with the support of Media Proxy. You can find out more about them at mediaproxy.com. See you next time.